the day, number 1, report of the Joint Select Committee on Parliamentary Standards.
And I call the member for Warringah.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to speak on this Joint Committee on Parliamentary Standards. I rise to speak on this important work, the Joint Committee on Parliamentary Standards, and I commend the report and the work of the committee. I'd like to thank its members, in particular its secretariat, and the members of the Joint Select Committee on Parliamentary Standards, my independent colleague Kylie Tink, the member for North Sydney, who has been working on it. This is really important. For context, the Set the Standards review done by Sex Discrimination Commissioner Kate Jenkins just shocked the nation. I think it's fair to say shocked most of us in here, I hope, but also shocked the nation in terms of the wide scale and the level of discrimination, abuse, disrespect, harassment, and even allegations of assault and sexual assault in the parliamentary workplace. I think it was a pretty low bar for the Commonwealth workplace. And so now the endeavour is to make sure that that can never be the case again, and that we in fact set much better standards, as Commissioner Jenkins very much aptly named her report. And so, because this place is setting the laws and the rules for the rest of the country, for so many other workplaces that they must comply with. This place should be a gold standard of what other workplaces aspire to be. And what was made so clear in that report is that it's very far from that. And that this place has a long way to go. And I think parliamentarians, we need to take this on board and take responsibility for the workplace that we are creating and part of. And we need to set that standard of behaviour of what should be the gold standard around the country. And so one of the recommendations of the Set the Standard report by the Sex Discrimination Commissioner was the development of a code of conduct for parliamentarians. And so the committee that has issued this report was formed to develop that code of conduct and the standards for parliamentarians. Now, since coming into this place in 2019, I have been advocating for a code of conduct. I must say it was one of the things I was most shocked about in coming into this place, coming from the bar, where of course there is a code of conduct, there is practice. One of the main exams you pass to become a barrister is around ethics. And so it was quite surprising to know that there is no code of conduct in this place. I think pretty much the only workplace remaining without such a standard. So I welcome the motion for the establishment of a code of conduct for parliamentarians today. It's an important progress and something that I very, very strongly support. It is really an important benchmark that we can all then measure ourselves to and hold ourselves to. I greatly appreciate the work of all involved in bringing it to this point. Kate Jenkins, as Australia's National Sex Discrimination Commissioner, she welcomed the development of the codes, and when they were endorsed by the Parliament, she said, "This is a historic moment. Federal Parliament has never had codes of conduct. They are an important tool to help ensure Parliament is a safe, respectful workplace." So let's talk about the recommendations. I was pleased to see the commitment to all parties to the implementation of the behaviour standards for Commonwealth parliamentary workplaces and the behaviour code for parliamentarians. That was recommendation 2. And I look forward to the creation of the Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission, as recommended in both this report and the Set the Standard report, to support the full implementation of the codes. Now, that is recommendation 5. I also welcome the adoption of the interim codes of conduct until that body is established, recommendation 3, and I trust that upon the creation of the Standards Commission, we will seek to implement all recommendations, and in particular 6 and 7, to establish a clear understanding of the roles of parliamentarians with respect to the codes and impose sanctions for not complying. Unfortunately, we know that there needs to be deterrence, and so for codes of conduct to really bite, there needs to be consequences for when they are ignored. So I support the establishment of a body to oversee and conduct reviews into the implementation and enforcement of the standards as per recommendation 10. It's important that protections against vexatious claims, frivolous and unreasonable complaints under the codes are also protected against, and policies are established to inform people of these policies as per Recommendation 14. I strongly support also Recommendation 16, which recommends a proactive approach to training and education when implementing the codes. This is really important that not only staff but parliamentarians be aware and properly understand the expectations that arise from the code. Per Recommendation 9 of the report, key to the success of the transformation of this place is that staff are aware of the changes that are being made and are involved in the process of driving change. And so the staff consultative group is an important element. As a member of the Parliamentary Leadership Task Force, I'm pleased with the progress towards the establishment of a staff consultative group. It will assist in the amplification of the message, it will drive increased participation in decision-making, and it will increase buy-in to the solutions developed. But I do call out to staff across this place and in everyone's electoral offices, it is important to engage with this process. Unless we get the feedback, unless we hear from you, the solutions can't be developed and put in place. So it's really important that staff have buy-in, that they feel empowered, they feel heard, so that they can speak up when the circumstances and situations require it. That much of the responsibility for the implementation of this report and its recommendations has been given to the Parliamentary Leadership Task Force, which I'm on, and will certainly very dedicated to see that happen. I welcome the appointment of Dr. Vivienne Thom as the new chair of the task force, and I look forward to working with her throughout this term, and I thank her and the secretariat for their hard work. One element that we are now currently really engaging with is working towards the establishment of an alcohol policy to address the issues that the consumption creates for behaviour in this place. And I really hope to see that implemented very shortly. I think it will be a step forward to ensuring that the parliamentary and Commonwealth workplace is a respectful workplace. Thank you.